we had over at the On Three Studios checking in virtually. Aaron Murray spoke with JD Piquel, and it's definitely worth checking out over on Three's YouTube channel if y'all want to watch that after this, because I mean you don't want to leave this show right now. But I keep hearing, Jake Rowe, that Tennessee is going to be the team that knocks Georgia off the block. Tennessee this, Tennessee that. And I get it. When you look at Georgia's schedule, they are the most imposing team right now. And we've really gone into Georgia's schedule a ton. I mean, we've dissected it as much as you can in February, March, and April. We know it's going to change. We know it's going to get more difficult in spots than it looks right now. It's going to get easier in some spots than it probably looks right now. But if you've had the opportunity to evaluate what Josh Heupel's doing, what Joe Milton will bring to the table at quarterback for Tennessee, I guess you can mark my words here on April 19th. The best advantage Tennessee has is not Joe Milton, it's Rocky Top. Am I wrong on that?
No, not at all. I think one of the things that I think Tennessee is, I think Tennessee should probably have a little bit of a beef with Auburn. And this is why. When Auburn did what Auburn does, and that is go to the SEC, I don't know, with a certain tone of their voice or hat in hand, and they say, all right, we need
tears in their eyes.
We need things to change. We can't play Georgia and Alabama in November anymore. Boo-hoo. Tennessee's going to have to trade spots with us. Well, man, listen, by the time you get to November and Georgia has gotten a bye week and they've used a little bit of the off-season time and they used a period here and a period there to prepare for Tennessee, and they've got all the film on Tennessee and any sort of new wrinkles that have been put in the offense, Georgia's more ready to play that offense, that unique style that Tennessee goes with, than they normally would be. So I think that's something that you have to look at. And then ultimately Tennessee is just a couple, 2 or 3 years away, stacking defensive recruiting classes from being legit on, to Tennessee is, if you go out there and you stop Tennessee's going to have a really tough time beating you because they're just not very good defensively. And it's going to be hard to imagine them being a ton better defensively this year. I don't think they're going to be as good on the offensive line. I don't know where the receiver talent's going to come from. Cedric Tillman, Jalen Hyatt. Georgia shut them down with those two at full speed last year. So
with sorry Keely Ringo, that guy was terrible.
Yeah, with terrible old Keely Ringo, that Georgia fans can get into that one. But but yeah, I mean, you got Darnell Wright. They're losing him at offensive tackle. I don't disagree with Aaron Murray that's the biggest threat in the East.
Oh, I don't either.
But Georgia is doing a really good job of keeping the East maimed.
Yeah.
It's a threat a year basically is what they've turned the East into. And it was Kentucky there for a couple of years. It was Florida there 1 year. And Florida actually got on top. They actually got the right pieces together and caught Georgia at the right time. And now it's Tennessee, and I do think Tennessee. It's our man Dean Legge right there in the background.
I was going to zoom in on that.
Know that head from anywhere.
What is look at Dean's setup here. Let me try to find this picture. Look at that.
It's awesome. Whatever it is, that's all Dean does is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a SLR with an iPhone on top.
An SLR and a GoPro and an iPhone.
We're gonna have him back on just to talk about that.
Dean is the guy who takes pictures of Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure he's got it. He's got it all. He's got it all figured out there.
But no, I mean, I do have a lot of respect for Tennessee. I do. I just Georgia seems to have kind of found a little bit of a thing there. Georgia's so much better defensively than Alabama was this past year, and I know that was a historic win for them. It'll still be interesting on Rocky Top. That Tennessee found a way even last year in Josh Heupel's first year, 2021 in Josh Heupel's first year, to kind of make it a little bit of a game there for a quarter and a half.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you still have to like Georgia in that matchup. And But I agree with Murray there. I just don't know how big of a threat it's going to be.
Yeah.
And Tennessee's, when you go into rebuilding mode in year 3 of a coach, it's a lot different than going in rebuild in year 7 of a coach like Georgia was last year. Georgia went 15-0. I don't think Tennessee's going to do that.
Yeah, it's easy to see the sparks of one guy, of one quarterback, and you're going to see this with every team in the SEC. It happened to Georgia when Alabama was clearly the best team in the SEC for a while. Georgia's caught up, if not surpassed them. What did all the talking heads say at SEC Media Days in the offseason? They found reasons to make Georgia exciting. They found reasons to make you think, okay, maybe this is the team that can knock off the Tide. It's just what they do. Surprise, surprise, taking you behind the tinsel a little bit. That's what happens. For South Carolina, it's going to be Shane Beamer, and it's going to be the return of the quarterback that was, anointed 4 times already at Oklahoma and at South Carolina. It's going to happen with every single school. Kentucky, now they don't have a quarterback who puts mayonnaise in his coffee. I mean, it's going to be all kinds of angles for every different team. Tennessee just happens to be, I feel like, the most legitimate one. But when you look at what they did to Bama, everyone thinks that that's like this hurdle that the Vols found a way to cross. They've broken this jinx. Alabama had 17 penalties in that game, and a lot of people want to continue to overlook that too. I don't see Georgia having 17 penalties in a game. That's just me. Maybe they do. Maybe something happens this summer and they totally lose their heads and have no composure and no focus as a team. But I'm not seeing that. And that's what it took for Tennessee to even beat Alabama. And Bama wasn't even the class of the SEC West. So I hear what Murray's saying. For the record, he didn't say that Tennessee was going to beat Georgia. He just said they were the biggest threat. And by the way, Craig Lawson is just lighting up our comments with the sarcastic remark on Milton being the most talented quarterback in the country. Who wouldn't want a quarterback who got benched at 2 different schools?
Now, like Matthew C points out, there is a lot of physical prowess there with Joe Milton. He can throw a strawberry through a locomotive. I mean, he has got a big time arm. I mean, I think I was reading on the Tennessee board last year, like after the Georgia win, we got to Thursday or whatever, and they were talking about sending a man to the moon or something. It was an off-topic board, and they said, why don't they just strap it to a football and let Joe Milton throw it? I mean, because he can. I mean, listen, that cat can throw the football. He can spin it. But Jamarcus Russell could throw the football. Jeff George could really sling that tater.
Anthony Richardson.
Yeah,
more recent history.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's kind of, let's see it for what it is. And, Joe Milton has gotten benched a couple other places, and I'm not ruling it out this year because they've got a high dollar and high, talent freshman. And Nico, I cannot pronounce his last name. And we'll see.
Nico, I'm a leave you.
Yeah, I'm a leave you.
Nico, I actually have not heard anyone say it, so that's just
I haven't either, and I don't want to try. I hate butchering those people's names because they have such a beautiful, beautiful culture and beautiful names and everything, and I hate messing them up. And I usually have to hear them about 60 times before I can get them right. But so that's going to be a battle there too, and some drama they're going to have to fight through.
Sling that tater.